Okay, let's get into it. Today we're doing a deep dive on the National Lotteries Control Board in Trinidad and Tobago, the NLCB.
Yeah, and it's not just any state company, right? It's massive.
Exactly. I mean, this thing is a financial powerhouse for the country. We're talking really significant public money here.
Absolutely. The numbers are pretty staggering. We're looking at what? Nearly TTD, 3 billion a year in gross gaming revenue.
Right, 3 billion TTD. That's a critical source of cash for the government.
But here's the twist you find right away in the source material.
Mm-hmm.
It's incredibly profitable, like you said, this wealthy giant.
Uh-huh.
But sort of simultaneously, its operations are plagued by these, well, profound strategic challenges. And internally, things are kind of chaotic financially.
That's the paradox, isn't it? And that's what we really want to dig into. How did they build this thing up so effectively?
Yeah, how do they get so dominant?
And then why is so much potential revenue seemingly just leaking away, being lost?
Well, to get their success, you got to look back at their initial strategy. It was actually pretty clever. It was about co-opting culture.
Co-opting culture, how so?
They didn't try to invent something totally new. They looked at what was already there, this traditional illegal numbers game, Wearway.
Oh, right, Wearway. So they took that existing illegal game.
Exactly. And they basically brought it into the fold. They created the official Playware game that launched back in July 1994.
So they turned an unregulated thing into a state-sanctioned moneymaker. That was key.
Absolutely key. And they back it up with technology. There was an amendment, March 94, that let them go online.
Ah, okay. So modernization played a big role.
A huge role. They set up this massive network, over 1,200 agent terminals all over the islands.
And the clever part, like you mentioned, was where they put them, embedding them in local shops, mini-marts, pharmacies.
Made it totally accessible, like buying bread or milk. Just part of the everyday routine for people.
And the games themselves, they offer quite a range, don't they? Looking at the odds tells a story.
It does. You've got Playway, which is, relatively frequent wins possible. Odds are about 1 in 36 for the top prize.
Okay, so more regular players might go for that.
Right. But then you have things like Lotto Plus. Huge jackpots, life-changing money.
But the odds are astronomical.
Way up there, like 1 in 3.2 million. Roughly. So that tiered structure, it pulls in different kinds of players, it maximizes the appeal.
So operationally brilliant builds this huge, profitable entity. But you mentioned a twist.
Yeah, here's where the good news kind of stops and the problems really surface. We hit these twin crises.
Twin crises. Okay, what's the first one?
The first is internal. It's about governance, or the lack of it, really. For over a decade, the NLCB just didn't produce timely audited financials.
A decade. Which years are we talking?
Specifically, a 2019 parliamentary report highlighted that the accounts from 2013 all the way through 2018 were, well, unsubmitted, just missing.
Wow, and that has serious consequences, right?
Yeah.
For oversight.
Massive consequences. It led the Auditor General to issue what's called a disclaimer of opinion.
Which sounds bad. What does that mean, practically?
It's basically the worst finding an auditor can give. It means they couldn't get enough evidence to even form an opinion on the numbers. They couldn't vouch for them.
So the books were essentially unauditable for years.
Pretty much. And crucially, this lack of oversight apparently allowed the NLCB to hold on to tens of millions of dollars in surplus funds.
Money that should have gone elsewhere.
Exactly. Money that legally should have been transferred to the state's main account, the consolidated fund. So it stayed within NLCB instead.
Okay, so that's a major internal governance failure. What's the second crisis? You said twin crises.
Right. The second one is external. And honestly, this might be the most shocking fact from the analysis. It's the illegal lottery market.
The competition.
And it's more than competition, the size of it. Estimates suggest the illegal market in Trinidad and Tobago generates TTD $9 billion a year.
Yeah, hang on. 9 billion. TTD 9 billion.
9 billion, yes.
But the NLCB's revenue is 3 billion, so the illegal market is 3 times bigger.
3 times the size of the legal state-run operation. It's staggering.
How does that even work? Why don't the illegal operators just run their own draws? Why rely on the NLCB?
That's the interesting part. They're essentially parasitic. They don't need to establish the trust or infrastructure for their own draw.
Ah, I see. They just use the NLCB's results.
Precisely. They leverage the NLCB's publicly announced numbers, the legitimacy of the state draw for their own illegal betting operations.
So they piggyback off the state's credibility. And how do they handle the betting slips, the transactions?
They get creative to hide it. Sometimes the betting slips are designed to look just like, say, a regular grocery receipt. Very low-key, easy to overlook.
Clever, in a way. So what's being done? Is the government responding to this internal chaos in this huge illegal market?
Well, they're trying to. On the internal side, fiscal reforms are supposedly underway, mandating quarterly payments of surplus cash to the Treasury.
Trying to stop them hoarding the money.
Exactly. And imposing a hard and fast budget on the NLCB itself, trying to enforce discipline.
And what about the illegal side, the TTD 9 billion elephant in the room?
There are proposals for much tougher enforcement. We're talking drastic increases in penalties for illegal operators. Fines potentially running into the millions of dollars.
Millions.
And even prison time, up to 7 years being proposed, trying to raise the stakes significantly.
So, okay, wrapping this up. When you synthesize this whole picture, the cultural co-option, the tech, the governance failures, this enormous black market, what's the bottom line for the NLCB's future?
Well, it seems pretty clear. Their future growth, maybe even stability, it doesn't really hinge on launching a fancy new scratch ticket or some other product innovation.
It's more fundamental than that.
Much more. It really comes down to two things. First, can they actually achieve real, rigorous internal financial discipline, get their own house in order?
Okay.
And second, can the state effectively enforce its own laws, its monopoly? Can it actually reclaim or shut down a significant portion of that TTD 9 billion flowing through the illegal market?
Right, because that's where the real potential revenue gain is.
Exactly. It's about control and enforcement now.
So let's leave you, the listener, with this thought. Considering the sheer scale we've talked about here, what's the real long-term impact on a nation's public services, its budget, its development, when its single largest illegal economy is 3 times bigger than its most profitable legal state enterprise? That's a fundamental challenge.